plans do you guys have with this?
Well, quite obviously, the behavior that we've seen and has been reported to us last night into early today is clearly disturbing. It's morally, obviously, and ethically wrong. So we take all of this type of activity very seriously, and we've initiated an active investigation. We're looking into all the reports that are coming in, as well as proactively trying to identify people that have been victims of the crimes that we're seeing online.
Have you spoken to people who are victims of these crimes?
That process has begun, yes. We've spoken to several people early this afternoon since the call started to come in, and have had conversations with them in regards to what's occurred online, what they're seeing, and both what we found about them.
What exactly was he doing?
The suspect here in question, or the persons responsible for the photos and videos, would be kind of classified as voyeurism activity, taking hidden or surreptitious video without people's consent or knowledge, where there's that expectation of privacy around them or underneath their clothing.
Does that include in public places?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anything that's going to be underneath a layer of clothing would be considered an expectation of privacy in our mind and under the code. Again, that comes down to the surreptitious really is the key. It's unknown and unconsensual.
And what sort of a challenge do your investigators face in an investigation like this, where pretty much have nothing really to go on but photos and a Twitter account? How challenging is an investigation like that?
Very challenging. All types of online investigations do start with that. It's a good question. In regards to identity becomes an issue right away. In regards to how do we attribute the activity we're seeing online to a specific person, not just an administrator of an account or the people responsible for the video. So what we have to do is just work as quickly as possible to identify the persons responsible for the taking of the photos and videos and that criminal offense, and then the sharing of it through these types of sites or Twitter accounts and social media platforms.
So, but it is a Calgary user, like that you guys are with that one?
Yeah, I mean, the account itself is titled Canada Creeper. So right now we're still working to attribute that to Calgary specific, that the suspect belongs to Calgary or lives and resides here in Calgary. But there is confirmed content, a number of it actually, that is to deal with Calgary.
Do you have any information about how many victims have come forward, or how many people have reached out to you?
So the number right now is very fluid. We've received numerous complaints, obviously, from both anonymous through Crime Stoppers, as well as from the public in general and through social media and our public affairs, as well as proactively, as I said prior, we're reaching out to people we've been able to identify through social media, and the public is obviously helping themselves to identify other victims. In regards to the number of offenses that we've confirmed so far, again, that's pretty fluid. We have multiple offenses, I'd say well over 10 at this point, in regards to what would classify as voyeurism under the criminal code.
And one of the sort of one of the more prominent, I guess, victims would be there's a video of a 14-year-old girl at the Comic Expo. Does the age of the victim have any sort of bearing on not only the charges he'd face, but I guess how seriously you take the investigation? Is this sort of take it to a whole new level?
Okay, yeah. I'll answer that in kind of a multiple question on multiple fronts. The age of the victim obviously has different classifications in regards to possible offenses, and it's just in the infancy of the investigation, so I'll hold off on commenting on exactly what that particular offense is and what charges will follow that review of that case. We're looking at each victim in each case, although all seem to be compiled into one social media platform or forum. We're looking at each case individually and working to identify those victims. In regards to severity, we take all cases like this of equal severity. Different cases in the public perception can have different moral perceptions on how severe that is in the public opinion. But as far as us here, we take all offenses of this nature and any nature and victims of crime equally serious.
How concerning is it, obviously with the advent of social media and the internet and the ease in which to post photos and videos online, how concerning is it from a law enforcement standpoint that this kind of thing is going on?
It's extremely alarming. I mean, in just looking at this case specifically, and the volume of content that can be pushed out in a short amount of time, I believe the count's been around for about a year. and then a number of people that follow it, it's pretty alarming that it's actually taken this long to come to the attention of the public or have people come forward in regards to it. So it's extremely alarming. There's this content is what's extremely alarming to me personally is that this amount of content is out there, and that it's become this much of a social norm to people to see, not only see it, but just bypass it in their everyday searches online.
When did you become aware of this account?
Personally, I became aware of it late last night. CPS was made aware, reacted to it immediately, and initiated our own investigation, as well as started following up on complaints of victims coming in.
So were you able to capture a lot of the content before the account was suspended?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we're working through our different sources and have our cyber forensics unit, as well as the front line, reacting and responding to the victims who are calling in, as well as actively searching online for any further content that we may be able to find that's associated to the suspect or that username.
Can you get access, being in the police department, can you get access to that account after it's been blocked or locked? Is it something that you can contact Twitter and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we can follow a proper judicial process through production orders or search warrants and make application to get the content and the data. It is an extensive process, but absolutely we can.
You planning on doing a search warrant on the home computer?
It may come to it if we once we've identified a suspect and have attribution on who's responsible for it, then the investigation will take its due course, and that's definitely a viable possibility that we'll conduct search warrants on both residents and devices that we can be seized.
Is this such a conversation that people should be having with their children about this, and whether they've had something impacted to them or they've been looking at it? Is this some kind of conversation we should be talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good societal conversation to have, both in the homes and within the workplace, and what we believe is acceptable out there in society now. Definitely, we have to remind our children to be aware of their surroundings and help them to understand what's acceptable online and how inundated the internet is with this type of content, and just allow them to have their own opinions, but again, what's right, what's wrong, and find out where each individual's moral compass lies. But when it comes down to it, the brass taxes are this type of behavior is criminal, and it'll be investigated and people will be held accountable for it.
What kind of penalty could happen if a conviction is acquired?
It just depends on what charges do get laid, and again, it comes down to the intent behind it, which is pretty clear in this case. So all those variables will come down to prosecution, and I'll leave that question really to answer to the type of charges that get laid in the end, and our work with the prosecutions to bring it to a successful conclusion.
Twitter being U.S. based and the servers based in the States, how difficult is it going to be to access the files, or have you had to do that before? Yeah,
absolutely. We've done it numerous times. It definitely is an extensive and lengthy process. It doesn't happen overnight for sure, unless it's in the interest of public safety and protection of others in an imminent circumstance. In a case like this, it'll probably take some time once the orders are submitted to get the content, at least 30+ days by the time we're probably looking at receiving materials back from social media.